Okay, so let me show you this. The Afrikaners arrived. Now, couple of things. I am for some of these Afrikaner families coming over here as refugees, because I am for refugees who are in a situation where their lives are in danger and their babies will be killed and all that kind of stuff, no matter what the circumstance is. I believe in a colorblind version of that magnanimity. I believe we have a responsibility to people who desperately need help to extend that hand. That's what part of what makes me a Democrat. Even if they're white. How do you like that? Not because they are. And anymore, the reason that I go because they're black, right? That's not what it is either. Or because they're Arab or whatever. It has to do with the safety of those people, right? You could be colorblind towards people needing help. And for those of you that haven't followed along over the years, or if you don't watch the China show, Serpent ZA is South African. He's a white South African. He moved to China years ago and then now lives, I believe, in the United States most like full time. I don't know if he's become a citizen or what the deal is yet. But he's covered pretty extensively some of the shit that has gone on with as far as post-apartheid South Africa, and the violence that occurred. And some of it is fucking gnarly. And the billionaires aren't refugees. I agree. Those folks aren't coming over here. They're not the ones who need this help. They already came if they wanted to. Again, the idea that these are the rich ones is a distraction, I think. So the point I'm trying to make is like I believe that African families should be allowed to come over here. That they don't. They think they want to pick and choose, right? Based on skin color. I don't. I think if your family's in danger and you need help as a refugee and you'd be you want to be a decent law-abiding member of society or whatever, and you want to either temporarily live here and contribute to society and then move back to your home later on, cool. Right? So why are they here? I think largely because he's offering them a way out, because a lot of these folks, I don't know, they're not going back to the Netherlands or Switzerland or any of those places. So anyways, they meet a family of those folks here. Let me show you these folks. These are the folks that are coming through, just so you'll see them. Just to get an idea of who we're dealing with. They're all holding American flags. This kid's got his earmuffs on because he's clearly neurodivergent and the big noises are very scary to him. Again, I don't have to pick and choose who I have empathy for because of skin color. It's not hard. It's not hard. I don't like or dislike anyone based on their permanent characteristics or where they were born automatically like that. Just say it. Aw, thank you. Athena's girl, thank you so much. So this kid's adorable. She looks like she lives near my sister in Kentucky. But that lady looks like she's gone full Tulsi, which never go full Tulsi. She looks like a photo negative of Tulsi Gabbard's hairdo. That's funny. Anyways, so this is them hanging around, and they're just this like B-roll of these folks. Then a puddings. So these are the folks that they come and they meet. This is the first group of these folks, okay? And they came over. Like these are basically like lower middle class people in that country. And South Africa, aside from all the racial tension right now, is effectively a failed state. I would argue that there are a lot of Africans, South Africans who are African, by birth. Well, I guess these are technically African by birth too, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. They're like, again, these people love Africans that are, white Afrikaners. That's the part that they're bringing over. That's why they're all white. The black Africans can come over as part of other programs. So we have a lot of people from Kenya and other people doing this, right? So no non-whites? They're Afrikaners. That's the point. It's a specific group of people, okay? These are farmers that can't split. So first of all, I would argue to everybody in the chat room, I'm just gonna put this out there. It's always bad form to jump into racism with both feet, no matter what you think the root of something is. And a lot of times people fleeing an area, especially a place where there's a lot of violence that they're experiencing, either as a minority or as a former majority or any of that turnaround, often is part of a struggle or a fight that started before they were born or before they ever moved there. It's the only life they've known, and then they go. I know the Dutch colonizer thing is flying around there, but that doesn't mean anything to people who've lived there for multiple generations at this point, and they're leaving. Okay, so the idea, though, that they shouldn't be able to come here has no idea. I have no idea who picked those 40 people. They may be Elon and Thiel's extended families. They're not, because Elon and Thiel's extended families don't need any help coming over here. Because they're Palestinian? Well, that would be the other one. We have Palestinians living in the United States, right? We have Palestinians from the West Bank and Palestinians that formerly lived in Gaza who live in the United States, who are citizens now, have been for decades, right? Because they fled the area, because they wanted to raise a family, and they didn't expect that there would be any balance to that in their lifetime, right? Okay. So point being is that I find it completely unnecessary to go after anybody for their race or any of their immutable characteristics ever for any reason. If they don't deserve to be here because of immorality or violence or those kind of things, then that should be the case. And the same thing should apply to other immigrants who are here legally or not, who have been extended temporary protected status or deferred enforcement status. They should be allowed to stay as well. Does that make sense? Okay, so I will check their website in a second. But this is them arriving here, and they meet the Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landau, who is fucking dweeb-tastic. So
it is such an honor.
He comes.
Welcome to the United States of America. It is such an honor for us to receive you here today. This is the land of the free, and we know that.
Jesus, and the fact, like, they do this for every group of migrants and refugees that come over here.
All of you have faced. I'm Chris Landau. First, I'll introduce myself. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State of the United States. This is my friend Troy Edgar.
Yeah, I'm the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security. Again, welcome.
But he's also my friend Troy.
It's so great to have you guys here.
I know you've gone from a long flight. I cannot believe there are babies and children who are actually so well behaved. This is much better than mine are. So bless you for that. And I think.
Yeah, it's funny. It's almost like children, regardless of their race, are innocent and decent and deserve a shot. It's funny. It's almost as if you're so close, you could almost extend that to people that don't look exactly like you.
It is so happy. It makes me so happy to see you with our flag in your hands, and that flag symbolizes liberty for so many of us.
Oh my God! The dude is such a wiener.
Many of us, our families, have had a journey not that different from the journey that you are embarking on today.
They already embarked on it. They're here, stupid.
My own father was born in Europe.
My own father was born in Europe. You don't say. How was his canoe ride across the Atlantic? The poor fella. Your dad was born in Europe. Jesus, how old are you? You must be in your late 40s, early 50s. So that means he must have carved a boat with his fucking teeth.
And had to leave his country when Hitler came in the 1930s, and made his way to South America first, and then eventually to the United States. So
he was a Nazi who fled to Argentina after the war. I see.
So he is an immigrant who actually, was able to benefit from the many blessings of this country, and one of the reasons.
Yeah, we know how that works. We're just confused about why it wouldn't work for the brown ones. Stupid.
That I really wanted to go and work for the government.
God, this is so fucking ham-handed.
Is because I wanted to give back to this country that really brought freedom to my family and allowed us to escape a very difficult situation.
Oh yeah, I can feel it.
In another country. So, I know that this is going to be.
But D.B. Golding saying no black African farmers. The idea is that black African farmers are staying there and taking that land back, and these people are leaving and leaving their farms behind, so they're fleeing without any of their stuff, and then the black African farmers wouldn't need to come here. They would just take over whatever these folks split and left behind, would be the idea.
You know, any adjustment in life.
It doesn't matter. Like, but again, understand that this is meant to be as much of their kind of like bait and switch distraction as possible, and a way of like sucking up to the rest of MAGA.
Change takes a while to get used to. But I want.
Yeah, okay, where are they going to stay? Where are they going to get a house right away? Work, money? Exactly. Yeah, no, they're not going to go to a refugee hotel or any of that stuff. They're going to work visa right fucking away. And I bet you anything, there'll be a big story next year about how they're all farming.
You all to know that you are really welcome here and that we respect.
Jesus, like it just, can you not? Dude, just keep it on the down low. Jesus Christ. The fact that you wouldn't ever do this from another group. That, like, you wouldn't do this for fucking Coptic Christians from the Middle East. Right? Ugh.
You have had to deal with these last few years. We respect the long tradition of your people. And...
Well. No. If anything, we understand it's very difficult to come from a tradition that's very, we understand that because we had white Southerners who are still trying to deal with the fact that they lost the Civil War. So you'll fit in right down there. You guys can bitch about the same shit.
What you have accomplished over the years, and I am sure that you will be successful. As you know, a lot of you, I think, are farmers, right? When you have quality seeds, you can put them in foreign soil and they will.
Oh God, he worked on this, didn't he? I'm gonna say this thing, honey, I'm gonna say this thing about quality seeds. You're what? Yeah, I had this thing like if you take quality seeds, you can plant them in foreign soil. Shut the fuck up and pass the bacon. I'm sorry.
They will blossom, they will bloom. And
were any of them slave owners? No. That's not how that system, not for centuries.
We are excited to welcome you here.
Well, a century and a half, I suppose.
To our country where we think you will bloom, and we will hopefully allow you to have fulfilling lives for your children, and then we will bloom and we will benefit alongside you. So thank you very much for...
It's sort of a co-blooming. Jesus Christ.
For coming here.
Yeah.
Thanks. Now, we're holding toddlers. Can we go fucking pee right now?
I'd like to add, again, on behalf of President Trump, Secretary Noem, we're just so grateful that you guys are here. Everybody within DHS, we've been so excited to be able to get you guys here to process, to vet, everything, so you guys get a really warm start. After all I was tracking your flight, 12 hours that you were last night. I'm like, oh.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. You're telling me you can't track fucking Garcia's flight and have it turned around, you piece of shit?
Oh my God. So thank you for just the patience of being able to get here.
The patience? What? They didn't have to wait in line to take turns to fly the fucking plane, dummy.
Very similar to Chris, as our Secretary Landau, is that my wife came from Iran. Same thing, persecution from Christianity. And she's come here. She now speaks 5 languages. She's a school teacher. She's a great American story. And we're so grateful. I think Chris and I both just wanted to come and make sure that we greet you guys, we meet you.
Look at this. I didn't spot that. This guy has a Iranian wife. He has a Persian wife, depending on how the argument's going in the household.
Give our contact information to you, and if there's anything that we could do, we just want to welcome you personally. We look forward to, after this, to be able to spend a little bit of time with you and get to...
Yeah, it's not often that we see white immigrants. It's like weird. Like, I don't even know what to say. It's so awkward. I'm like, hi. Shit.
To talk to you guys, so thank you guys.
Yeah, can they put their kids in strollers now? Can we get their bags off the fucking plane? Jesus Christ. Okay, then they do a shit ton of B-roll. And then they spared no expense. It's just this. Almost feel like, hold on. Mm-hmm. Thanks everybody for coming. I feel like I should do it on the one up here so that the people on Substack don't think I've lost my fucking mind entirely. So, thanks everybody for coming here today. I know. Can people please keep it down? I know that many of you have never seen a white immigrant before. I want you to know that they're not like unicorns or something. They're just like us. And just like us, they really need to take a shit and a shower. So if you could just stop fawning over them, believe me, if you give them long enough, they'll turn into white trash you can ignore, just like the ones in the Midwest that you pretend to like, except during the election schedules. Now, we understand that a lot of you just are kind of confused about why this is news. Obviously, we're shoving, we've probably the biggest deportation in history, of course, as the president has wanted. We've been working on that very much. And so far, of the 25 million illegals that were allowed into this country by the Biden administration, we have deported a couple of dozen. And not all of them were babies. I don't care what you've heard. Not all of them were babies. So I just want to focus on that. And then I'm going to take some questions in a little bit, but I am going to, just so you know, I don't even know if you need to have your mics on. I am going to just ask you where you're asking the question from. And if I don't like the publication, I'm going to say you're trash and give something that's sort of a bit of distraction. So just expect that in general. Again, and for those of you that have paid for the VIP meet and greet, all of the white South African immigrants will be in a small touching booth before we move them to Huntsville, Alabama, which of course is the home of Operation Paperclip, where we dropped all the Nazi rocketeers after World War II. We figured they just zip right in there and feel pretty great. If you have any questions, go fuck yourself. And scene. Okay, sorry. I got to stretch myself back out. I should probably have a setup where I can do this on the regular, don't you think? Whoop. Chuck. Mute. I become teensy. There we go. Now I'm fine. Okay. I have fixed it. All right. Yeah, so this drags on for quite some time, and then those two dipshits come out and they make a statement. Where is it? Yeah, they're starting to show up. Doop, 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 doop. Some interviews and some people around here, and then they answer some questions, and then you get to see just what super dweebs. Hashtag the best people. There's your mark. Is this where I stand? Yeah, you mean between the two fucking flags on the big black background where the mic has been pointed for the last 10 minutes? Are you fucking confused? Or you're just like, don't step down there. That's one of the really small Afrikaners. These are the gnomes that they brought with them. So.
Okay. Just tell me when we're ready.
Yep. So first, Deputy Secretary Landau's going to give a few remarks. Here we go.
I'm from your office. Hey, you doing good? Awesome. He's going to be first. And action. I'll be over here. It's a fucking dweeb city.
Thank you very much. And thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out here this afternoon. The Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security and I just met with this first flight of South African refugees.
And they're still getting our slobber off their clothing.
To arrive in our country pursuant to the President's executive order about certain egregious actions in South Africa.
They're starting to treat them like they're treated at home.
The President made it clear that Afrikaners in South Africa who are the victims of unjust racial discrimination would be welcome to come to the United States, and he's now delivering on that promise.
Also, real quick, unjust racial discrimination, does that not by its very nature, suppose that there is just racial discrimination? I would tend to disagree, but it seems to me that you seem to think that there's some sort of just. I see. All right. Mm-hmm.
The Deputy Secretary and I just spoke to some of the folks who arrived on this flight.
Yes, you already said that part.
And they tell quite harrowing stories of the violence that they faced in South Africa that was not redressed by the authorities, by the unjust application of the law. The United States, as we were proud to say, has...
yes, I would agree. I would agree. This is tremendously woke. This whole thing is so fucking woke. It's 100% woke. Okay, hold on. This is, where did it go? I'm trying to find, I'm trying to find something that's more recent. Yes, sure. There you go. Hold on one second.
For equal justice under law and the fair and impartial application of the law. And again, this is a group that has not experienced that and has, to the contrary, experienced violence and really fear for their lives in South Africa. They were really subject to very serious, egregious, and targeted threats. And we wish.
Okay, first of all, that's all true. Okay, that's yes. Whites are being targeted in South Africa for their skin color. Bad whenever that happens. But let me show you something. When they're talking about, let's see if I can open this up without, in South Africa right now, let's see, these are the taxi wars. Now, there was a similar thing going on in Toronto when I first moved up there. This is fucking Storyblocks footage. Get out of here. Where they're battling groups that control different taxis in Johannesburg and in Cape Town, and they start fights with each other, and then they set each other's cars on fire. This is just fucking like this recycled footage. Let me show you the real gnarly shit. But I have to look through all these things without. There we go. This business right here. Because the murder rate in like Cape Town is fucking brutal right now. And here's the thing that gets lost on these folks. When you're playing on the laugh tag you were using when Trump fascist clown speaks better than speeding up his voice, make a laughing stock out of him. Oh, well, thank you, Groove Dragon. I agree. I think that was the best way to handle him as well. I actually went and found some more sound effects along those lines so I'd have more to choose from when the time came around again. Yeah. So all throughout like Cape Town and other places, like crime is pretty fucked up. Okay, in general, there's some really gnarly, and like I can't scroll through it's a person getting killed. There you go. So the crime over there is really awful. And so the complaint that somehow that whites that are being targeted, which they absolutely are being ignored by the police when they try to file a complaint or whatever, that the targeting is because they're white. The lack of follow through on the part of the police and the government isn't necessarily because they're white. Although I'm sure it doesn't help. It's not because they're white. It's because there's no follow through at fucking all. Everybody is in deep shit over there. Like it's fucking sad. And South Africa has been in a decaying state for years now. 3,000 deaths a year. Cape Town in particular, and these like, you know, in this like the gnarlier, like slummy places. Now hold on, let me slip past this business. Yeah. Just, and I have to be careful what, yeah, 'cause they start shooting. Can't show that stuff, whatever. There's just tons of this kind of violence. And so the idea that are white settlers being targeted specifically for rape and murder and all that kind of stuff? No question. Are there children being slaughtered? Yes. Are women being raped and murdered? Absolutely. And is it because they're white? In most cases, yes. But it's also opportunistic. But on top of that, it isn't that the government is not hearing their cries. It's that the government doesn't do shit about anything right now. That's and that's the part that where do they fall in the refugee part? They've just decided to stay in a country that's falling apart, which is happening under its own weight.
Wish them well in their journey of the United States.
Yes, which you do with no other immigrants and refugees at all, including the Afghanis who helped us fight the Taliban and who would be killed if they were found out. Or like, I used to have a personal assistant who was from Iraq, and he was gay, and he was living in the United States and living his best life. But if he helped he helped the U.S. troops in Iraq, and if he stayed, they would kill him, A, for helping us, well, A, for being gay, and B, for helping us. His life was in danger. So they brought him to the United States. He was able to move here. And if he hadn't, he'd be dead, period. But on top of that, like, would they have killed him for being gay? Yes. Would they have helped, would they have killed him for helping the U.S.? Absolutely. But if his family sought justice, would they do it because he was gay or they helped the U.S.? No. They just wouldn't help because they don't have the ability to help anybody. Yes, gay in Iraq is a death sentence. As it is in good old Palestine, my friends.
We underscored for them that the American people are a welcoming and generous people, and
if you're white and you have a scary accent.
We underscore.
I'm from South Africa. I sound a bit like a mean Australian.
The importance of assimilation.
God damn, this dude is a dweeb. He's the Deputy Secretary of State?
Into
but
the United
yes, but you're black. You are. Yes, I am. That's right. Yes, you are.
States, which is one of the very important factors that we look to in refugee admissions. And
God, just polish this turd, dumbass. Just say it. Trump wanted to help him because Elon Musk told him that white South Africans are fucked. And if he didn't tell him that, he wouldn't give a shit about these people, no matter what desperate situation they were in.
Through this
While you're at it, why don't you bring some albinos out of fucking Kinshasa or sub-Saharan Africa? You want to see a life of trouble? See what happens to a black person with albinism in Africa. Jesus.
Program for these folks who were
your dork dar is tingling. This dude is totally pegging the dork radar. Yeah.
In South Africa, and we're sending a clear message that the United States really rejects the egregious persecution of people on the basis of race in South Africa.
Well, noticing he was like, we're against people being discriminated against because of race. In South Africa, I mean, everywhere else, it's kind of like, what do you expect? You know? I mean, come on. I mean, look who I work for. Are you shitting me? Good Lord.
And we welcome these people to the United States and to a new future. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good afternoon. I'm Deputy Secretary Troy Edgar. First of all, I just want to thank President Trump, Secretary Noem, for the opportunity to come down here and welcome these folks from South Africa.
God damn. Like, there's fucking 65 people, I think, in total. There's probably, over the course of this entire thing, there might be 250 or 300 of them that qualify and can get the fuck out of there and want to and will and all that shit. Meanwhile, Why do they? All right, I was about to say, why do they get a press conference? We know exactly why.
You know, it's
His chin didn't come through customs.
I'm very grateful for Deputy Secretary Landau. You know, we do a lot of work together to try to further the objectives of the president, and this has been a very important day. It was
Totally.
great to greet these folks that came in, to hear their stories, to hear what they've been through. You know, this is a real situation. These people have went through a lot of stuff, and we're just grateful to have them in the U.S. As many of us know, the United States has a long history of bringing people over. My wife was
go easy, buddy.
an Iranian, came over during the regime change in the 70s, and she's now here, speaks 5 languages, a school teacher. We think the American dream is possible for these South Africans. We're super excited for them.
And if we weren't importing women, I would never be able to find one.
Deputy Secretary and myself have given these people our personal information and said anything we could do to help them be
My wife is, of course, from Iran. I myself am a mole rat. Love is possible.
successful. We just want to wish them the best. We thank you guys for coming down here and celebrating this with us. Thank you.
A couple questions first, Breitbart.
Hi, thank you for your time.
Real quick, how come you never do this for black people? I think the only question anyone has, for real. How come neither of you, you're not greeting any boats full of black people or any, no? You're not, no Middle Eastern Coptic Christians that were fleeing persecution in Syria that came over here? They're pretty fucking brown. I don't know if you've seen them, but holy shit, they're brown. So, you know, if you ever, any reason you're not down here glad handing them through, helping them with their luggage? Any reason at all?
What are some examples of racial discrimination or attacks that initially caught the eye of the Trump administration? And is there a pathway to American citizenship for these refugees?
Sure. Well, thank you for that question. I think if you look at the executive order that the president issued back.
Hey, asshole. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. This would be. Here you go. Euro News. This is these are white people in they call it white slums. They are people who are driven off their land, their families in, or farmers that didn't own the land but worked it for other whites. That was the other thing too. Is a lot of like middle and lower class folks that I know I'm entering into. I'm a busy guy. I'm doing lots of I've been at it for a while. I totally let that time slip by. This is this. I mean, this looks like fucking Kentucky. You know, parts like rural Kentucky, which is what we're talking about. These are the folks that they're talking about moving out of there. These aren't the ones that still have these giant like plantation farms and shit like that. Just so you know. There's a dude with one leg. There he is. I'm sure he lost it in a firecracker accident. Yep. So yeah, they were basically sharecroppers on those places as well. So the people that are coming over here are those folks more than likely because they're going to use them as a PR push. Just so you know.
On February 7th of this year, it talks about the terrible expropriation act that was enacted last year in South Africa that allows for the expropriation without compensation of farmland. A fair number of these refugees were farmers who've farmed this particular land for generations and now face the threat not only of expropriation.
Yeah, the generations part is, I think, probably the issue.
But also of direct violence. We had a chance to speak to them about many of these folks have experience with threatening invasions.
Yeah, that's what she was asking you about, fuckhead.
Invasions of their homes, their farms, and a real lack of interest or success of the government in doing anything about this situation, as well, obviously, as...
God damn, this guy is dull. Sorry, I went long. I just kind of lost track of time because I was so busy talking to you guys. I blame the kidney, but in reality, it was just because there's so much to fucking cover, and there's no way to cover all of it right now. and I try to snippet some of this stuff. We didn't even do the full length stuff, and it still takes so much time to explain all the lies. All right, so I'll let you guys go. I've got to get in the car. I got to just throw some gear in the car and get the fuck out of Dodge, because I got to drive to LA tonight in this wind, by the way, which is fucked up. So I'll let you guys go. Sorry for keeping you, but I adore you. So share the show, like and subscribe, etc., etc., etc. And I will talk to you on the other side of it. And hold on, I think I have a theme song to go out on. Let's see, should we... which one do I feel like today? It's difficult. It's very hard to try and... I feel like... Am I getting crumbly audio? Is that weird? Does that sound odd to you guys, or is it just to me? Because often I have to... see if my stuff can go. All right. Excellent. It was just in my headphones being weird. I just did a restart on it. Just going to let you guys ease into Monday night, man. No welcome for Gilmar Garcia. Exactly. They didn't even do it for his fucking send-off. They're not going to... Look, I don't care if they bring him back undercover at night and they don't pay any attention to it. As long as they bring him back, we'll make all the noise that needs to be made. You know what I mean? Yeah, say hi to Rachel for me. Much love, everybody. Oh yeah, the Venmo thing is back up. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee, or a tea, actually. Plain iced tea. That's all. That's all.